Hey, welcome to the True Evolution Podcast. I am the Bree Harris, and thank you for tuning in. We have a great show lined up for you today, so sit back or up because we're diving in. Hey, y'all, welcome back to the True Evolution Podcast. I am the Bree Harris.
And I am Eric Watts, the infamous.
And thank you for tuning in again, viewers listening all over. We sure appreciate you. Man, I know I say this every week, but I just guess we get a new topic and I keep saying we got some heat for you. But today is episode 3, and our topic today should be really good. It's bridging the gap between the older generation and the new generation. Man, that is something that definitely needs to be talked about.
Yes, I think it needs to be detailedly addressed because this is a very interesting topic. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's go. But of course, before we get into it, we like to pull a question from last week's episode, and we like to talk about that topic and a question. So one of our viewers said some of the same people are in control of the Senate and the House. So what makes this administration different than the last one? Policies, government, leaders, etc. Because yes, we have a new president and a new madam vice president, but when it comes to the House and the Senate, we're still having some of the same people. So what makes it different? You think you can answer that for us?
Well, really what makes it a difference is the control. The control is what really keeps the whole thing different and keeps it fresh. It's about who is demanding the certain things from the House and the Senate. And I believe with that being a change of control, I think the difference will be how everything is ran and how everything is administered. So I think that basically from the leader's perspective of what would be different policies, that's going to be some difference in policies because there's some different perspectives. So I believe policies and leadership are the two biggest changes in this current administration.
Yeah, I agree. And the good thing, like we spoke about last week, was that the Democrats are running the House and the Senate. So which would help is them being able to outvote the Republicans. And so I think that that would be something that would be different than last time. Of course, we're looking at the things that's been transpiring for the last, 2 weeks since Biden and Harris have been in office. And we can truly say that Biden is like really trying to bridge the gap between the racial gap. He's really working on it, but of course it's going to take more than him and a new president to bridge the gap. I was listening to I think it was CNN last night, and they said who we need to bridge the gap is those people that were at the Capitol. Those are the people that we need to come forward and try to work on bridging the gap because they're the ones that's setting us apart. So I did agree with the commentator when she said that last night. It's not us that are woke. It's not people like Biden. It's those people that were climbing that wall. Those are the people that we need to make the change.
Unification is across the board, so I don't think the question of the people being at the House climbing a wall is bridging the gap because they are fueled by something else. They're fueled by a degree of racism. And so when you are fueled by racism, then racism is the issue when it comes to the gap.
And right. And so that's why they were saying we need those type of people, because they are the ones that's fueled by the racism. You know, we don't need the people that don't have a problem with racial issues. We need the people that do have a problem with racial issues to be open to bridging that gap and helping make a change. So that's what I was meaning, and I believe that's what I understood that she was saying as well. We need those people to change up.
So the question still remains, of course, the second question that was asked of us was, how does the black community benefit directly from the current administration? That's a really good question, because when you're talking about administrations, those are issues that has to affect everyone, black community included. So, I mean, I don't know how to really answer that directly as far as how the new administration is going to affect the black community specifically. But I know that whatever change is coming about will affect the black community. But I don't know if there's going to be a specific set of laws, regulations, and rules that's going to help the black community.
So do we think that Biden and Harris are going to give us our 40 acres and a mule, or what?
Probably not. Because they got to fight against a lot of people to give that. So, he's having a problem with the $1.9 billion. Trillion. Sorry. Got to put another comma on that. Got to put another comma on that. Yeah. He's trying to get the 1.9 trillion to get passed, and there's been some reluctance from the Republican Party on whether we should pass that. So, and actually today he met with the Republican Party to see if we can get the a bill amended where both sides can agree and quickly pass it. But let me be specific, because he said with great aggression that if they don't agree, we going forward
regardless.
We going with the 1.9 trillion.
He trying to include y'all,
trying to make sure y'all,
but if y'all want to play,
if you don't, I ain't got to. We can pass this thing, because what they don't understand is the House majority is Democrat,
right, and the
Senate majority is Democrat. And if I know anything about Nancy Pelosi, I mean,
here he go.
That old Nancy ain't gonna stand for nothing. She feel power right now. So anyway, I believe that the current administration is going to make some sort of a change. How is that going to trickle down to the black community? I'm not really for sure. I can't give for sure answers on that one.
Yeah. It's, again, as we stated last week, it's really not up to, let's say, the administration to, like, I think people get it confused, because even when Obama was in office, they're like, oh, we had a black president, he still didn't do nothing for us. It's not up to the president, I would say, to not directly do things for the black community, but maybe some things policies that could change that would help the black community would be some things. But it's not that they're directly saying, okay, we're going to put this in place to change the black community. And they had a problem when Obama was in office and he didn't do it. And I just want to say, for the record, we got another black person in office, and we still shouldn't look at her to think that because she's black, that she should, make rules and regulations just for the black community. But I do hope as a whole, they do try to change some policies and, help directly benefit the black community. But it starts with us.
Oh, and let me reiterate something I said last week. Last week, I said that the president and the vice president is the two single most powerful people on the planet. So when they make laws, rules, and regulations, they have to incorporate pretty much the entire planet.
Yeah.
And we have to keep that in mind, as a people, that their responsibility is very high and they have a lot of things that they have to consider when making rules, policies, and regulation. So just wanted us to keep that in mind.
Right. So, speaking of bridging the gap and bridging the racial gap,
Yes.
there are other gaps that we need to bridge.
Absolutely.
And that takes us into our topic. And again, our topic today is bridging the gap between the older generation and the new generation.
That's a big gap.
Yeah, we got a lot of work to do.
Because the number one thing I hear all the time is back in the day. Back in the day.
Did.
Back in the day. Back in the day.
We understand that.
The old school.
We understand that.
And
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Absolutely.
But as we evolve, the world is evolving, and so should the older generation. And I can even take this back into my teaching days. And you would have those older teachers that's been teaching for 20 years, right? And they would say something like, well, this is the way that we used to do it. This is how we used to do it. And it's like, okay, but we're working with 20th century children.
Yes.
And the way that you used to do it is not going to grab the attention of these children today. So sometimes those older teachers didn't want to come to us younger teachers because they felt like that they were veterans and they were able to tell us what we needed to be doing, when we should have been listening to each other and coming together to bridge the gap for the children that are coming up. So, bridging the gap definitely is in a whole bunch of different avenues and different things that we definitely need to do. So where do we start?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that dialogue means two sides listening. Mm-hmm. That's first. We can have our own ideology, but at the same time, we have to employ our listening skills so that we can hear both sides and understand both sides. I understand old school. I'm 45 years old, so I understand old school and new school. But it ain't about what you do, it's how you do it. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. I can keep the principle from 76, but I have to employ a 2021 method.
Yeah.
And that's where we fall short, because everybody want to keep what they're used to. And that doesn't work when it comes to evolution, because evolution means a progression of involvement from one stage to the next. So we're going to evolve and we're going to bridge this gap. We got to, number one, understand both sides. And we got to number two, understand how we can communicate and work together on both sides. So
I agree. Definitely. I know they say that it takes 21 days to break a habit. I
Absolutely.
believe that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And so the thing is, kind of piggybacking off of what you said, we get so used to doing things. Yes. And it's okay to be used to doing things, but you have to learn to open up. And it's going to take time to break those habits, but at least we need to start somewhere. And like you said, that's listening to each other and then meeting in the middle and seeing what's the best for the topic at hand. So that's where I do see, like you said, starting. We got to start, and we have to start to evolve.
And we can't criticize each generation. That's what a lot of things has been going on lately. everybody pointing the finger. Oh, the millennials are tearing up everything. Well, okay. Well, who teaching them?
Well,
So who teaching them?
Well.
They got to learn this from somewhere.
Yeah.
They ain't getting it out the sky.
Yeah.
So we have to take some responsibility, even in my age bracket, to start teaching some of the millennials good principle. We ain't gotta go back to the old bull whips and stuff like that. But what we can do is we can show them a different way. Because if you really get down to the root of it, when it comes to these millennials, all they want is good information.
Yeah.
They just want good information.
But they don't only want information. They want to see you modeling
That's true.
that
is true.
information, because that's just like a child. You say, don't touch that stove. They don't know why not to touch the stove.
Absolutely.
You need to model to them that the stove is hot. You see a parent, hot, don't touch it. And now the kid is able to associate a visual along with a verbal or vocal, and they're able to put those two together and understand, when I see that, or I see a flame, or I see fire, I need to automatically associate it with it being hot. And so not just saying, excuse me, but also doing as well.
Yeah, you can't be 58 still at the club trying to drop it like it's hot. And then expect these youngsters and expect these youngsters to listen to you. Yeah. So you got to be a leader by example. You have to be able to show them the right way, as well as
it's okay maybe to hit the club every now and again, but we don't want to see you in there every week. That's not hot.
Man, you 62 and you got a club membership? I mean, come on, man. I mean,
it's a couple of out there.
Yeah. I bet it's some people you can look at they wrist and see about 40 different stamps from 20 different clubs. I mean, come on now. Let's just be realistic. If we're going to bridge the gap, we have to bridge it by showing the younger generation how to do it. And then we got to follow that up with some good instructions and some support.
Right.
Because our younger generation's biggest argument is they're not being supported. They feel like they're their own generation. It's just us. It's just us. And when we as older people see that, all we could do is shake our head. But nobody's taking no responsibility. And that's what's important when it comes to bridging this gap.
So why is it so important, especially in the Black community, to bridge these gaps? Maybe we can take it to, I know we be talking about church a lot, y'all. We sorry Christians and all of y'all. But we can take it to church as well, right? So you have the pastor that's up, he's giving his sermon every Sunday. You telling the kids to come to church, come to church, come to church. They're coming to church, but they've watched their grandma, their great grandma, their mom say, just pray about it. It's going to get better. But we watching from great grandma to mama, just pray about it. And your circumstances are still in the same. They're still the same. So it's like within the church, we need those pastors. Don't just tell us what the word says. Show us how to apply it. And then I believe that will make, that younger generation start to want to come to church, because they're not going to church.
They're not. And it's a big reason between that. First of all, the younger generation don't like to be judged. And I believe that's one of the biggest misnomers of the current church is how the older generation views the younger generation. You know, if you don't come to church in a 3-piece suit, they look at you like you don't belong there, and that's why.
Forget the fact that come as you are.
No, they didn't forget about that. And one of the biggest
gone.
things the older people don't understand is that used to be you.
Yeah.
You know, you came with the short skirts, and you came with the,
and somebody had to teach you or redirect you.
Absolutely. And we miss that, and we forget about that. But if you, I tell you what, if churches go to Chick-fil-A and take a page out of their book, your doors would be busting open with people, because it's how they are being treated when they come that makes them don't want to come anymore.
Right. We don't know their circumstances. We don't know if that's all they had to wear.
Yeah.
And I'm a people watcher, so I know I should be focusing when I'm at the church house. But when, say for instance, when someone comes in, let's say a girl with a short skirt, I like to scan the room just to see how many dirty looks she's going to get. And you'll be surprised. I guess I'm not the only one not paying attention to the sermon either, because she done got looks from the ushers to the first lady and whomever else.
Absolutely.
When they should be coming to them, and like you said, we were having a conversation the other day. It was like, hey baby, how you doing today? Let's put this on your lap and enjoy yourself. You know.
Ask them how they was doing. You okay, baby? Everything all right? I mean, just you the point of people coming to church is because they need something past people to help them. If they can't get past your ushers, if they can't get past your so-called parishioners to get to the person who can help them, then they're gonna leave the same way they came, which is bad. So we need to change that. We need to be more community people friendly. If you got people at your church with a bad attitude, they don't need to be on the door.
Okay.
What I'm saying?
Hello.
If you got preachers who don't know how to talk to nobody, then they don't need to be on the front row.
Me and my social media, I know. I went to get a massage today, and the guy was like, your thumbs are a little stiff, and he's like, on that phone. I said, I know, me and this social media. But I seen the meme yesterday that said, it was a waiter, and the waiter said, I've been waiting for 3 years, and I hate working Sundays.
Wow.
The after church crowd are the rudest people ever. They said folks. I can't stand working Sunday afternoons. He said when they put me on Sunday afternoons, I'm like, here we go, dealing with these rude church people. And I was like, wow, like
we harder on the newcomers than we are on the people who's been there for 10, 12, 15 years. And the problem is them. It's the church folk. Yeah. It's the people who've been there that's keeping your numbers low because of how they treat the people who coming in the door. And that's a bad representation, not only of you as a pastor, preacher, bishop, whatever you want to call yourself, but it's a bad representation on God himself. So, not to harp on the God thing, but we got to do better in the black community, because to be honest, the church is supposed to be the pillar of the community. And if that's not right, don't open your mouth and start complaining about these millennials.
Right, exactly. So it's definitely important to bridge that gap in the black community, and not just in church, in schools, and all of those different things. We definitely need to bridge those gaps in the black community. So does this affect the growth of the black family?
Absolutely. It affects it because the growth of the black family has to be one that works as a team, as a unit. When there is a big divide between generations of the parents and the children, there's no understanding. And then when there's no understanding, it creates confusion and chaos in the home.
Right.
And so, we got to take the opportunity to, as parents, to listen to our children.
Apologize.
Absolutely, it's
your
okay
children.
to do that. It's okay. To do that. It's okay.
If you wrong, you're wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember my parents were like that. They would always make sure that we understood the whole reason behind what we are getting in trouble about. And I think that was great because he would explain it. And the one question that got me was, if you was me, what would you do? So that was the one that got me. But anyway, the taking the opportunity, hey, and my grandmother was the one who gave me a lot of leeway with music, which, she would always, when I get in the car, she would try to listen, to try to, understand where we come from and why we think the way we do.
Yeah, versus just saying, turn that crap off. Yeah. Don't nobody want to hear that. They're just talking about X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
and you don't need to be listening to that. But guess what? If I don't listen to it in the car with you, I'm going to listen to it at school. I'm going to listen to it at my friend's house. I'm going to listen to it in my headphones where you can't hear. So the thing is to just go ahead and figure out what they're talking about. Maybe even if you make a joke, and then we can dissect it and talk about it. Not just saying, turn that crap off. Because back then, we could have thought that their music was crap too. Because they sang about a lot of love. And love making.
So
a bunch of that. They're still singing about love making. It's just a couple little extra words added to it nowadays.
But the thing about it is like I say, it's about understanding. We don't, my dad used to call it bumpity bump music because we always had
bump off.
We had the big bass lines in our music, back in the early 80s and 90s. So he would tell us, man, cut that bumpity bump music off. I don't want to hear all that. You're going to hurt my eardrums, stuff like that. But
and you made a point, and it was bringing me to this comment when you were talking about like the family. And one of the worst things, and I pray that when I have a child, I don't use this line, because I said so.
Interesting.
Well, tell me why.
Yeah.
Why can't I go to my friend's house? Of course, now at this age, I understand why, as a little girl, you wouldn't let me go to my friend's house without knowing who all lives there. Why did they move? And do they have brothers or uncles around? Of course, now I understand that. But back then I didn't. And to me, you were just being mean to me versus telling me, teaching me. And so what happens is, in the family, your kids start to pull away from you, and they don't tell you things because it's always because I said so. So they start to sneak around and sneak out of the house. And now they're fast at 15 because it was always because I said so, but you didn't take the time to explain. And with this generation, you need to take the time to explain to these children, because if you don't, the social media is going to explain it. The streets are going to explain it.
Music.
The schoolhouse, the music. So if you want your kids to get the right understanding of what you think, because I said so, we need to drop that in 2021, parents.
And I get it, parents working long shifts, they work 12, 13 hours just to put food on the table. and when they come home, they're exhausted. You know, it could be a single
You
parent
still
family.
need to take the time for your kids.
But at the same time, you know, we have to be able, as much as possible, to explain to our children exactly what's going on and what the need, why there is a need for certain things. You know,
and if you don't, Pookie from the corner going to explain it to them real well.
Absolutely.
So take the time you need.
Yep. So we need to make sure we do that in the family circle, because, you know, the one important thing that families should be preaching is team. This is a team. This is a team. We make up the
and
team.
Everybody has
everybody
their
has their part to do.
Yeah. To make up the team.
Absolutely. It's a well-oiled machine. But to relate to the question, the family will grow if there's understanding on both sides. I understand you, and you understand what my position is as a parent.
And it's not like you're trying to be your child's friend.
No.
But you still want them to understand, and you need to understand them as a child and as a teenager growing up in this world, because it's crazy out there, and school is a big problem, you know, nowadays. So yeah, with, like you said, with it being a team, everybody needs to play their part, come together, and the growth of bridging the gap will be bridged once everybody comes together and understand their part as a team and listening to one another. Don't think because you're the parent that you shouldn't listen to your child, because you definitely should.
Absolutely.
So if we're bridging this gap between the older generation and the new generation, who's benefiting the most? What do you think?
I think the adults are benefiting. And the reason why I say that is because these kids are younger people. I want to call them younger people. I don't want to call them kids. But these younger generation are learning at hyper speed.
Yes.
They're learning so much. They're picking up stuff so much. And to be honest, they can teach us a little bit. And if we are open to the younger generation, we can learn, and then that gap will be bridged, because now we're learning from each other. I said this, I think, about 2 weeks ago. I was talking to my grandfather, and he was telling me, he said, my grandparents been married for 54 years. And he said,
congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful thing. And he says to me, he says, still to this day, I'm learning from your grandmother. And I thought that was so intriguing to me, because he never stopped evolving. Even at 70 and 80 years old.
Every day should be a learning lesson.
Absolutely.
Every day you should learn something.
And you can learn something from each other is the biggest point, because he said he's learning more about her even now. So
is she the one teaching him? Is she the new generation teaching the old generation?
Well, my grandmother, who's
the more hip?
Put it like this: my grandmother still wear blonde hair.
Okay, grandma.
At 80, you understand what I'm saying? So, you know, my grandmother is pushing, and I tell you, she still want to be, you know, young and sassy.
Okay,
you know
so she the hip one. Okay.
Oh yeah. My grandfather is more the old fashioned one. You know what I'm saying? He's still back in the day, you know, old school, you know. But the perfect thing about it is they even each other out.
Yeah,
they even each other out so well, until it's still a perfect union. And I believe that's how it is in bridging the gap now. You know, it could be a perfect union between the young generation and the older generation, because we're learning from each other,
right?
And we learning how to, you know, how to live longer, and then we're learning how to do things faster and quicker. I can tell you right now, I don't know who introduced the world to an air fryer, but look, it
Listen, this is the modern day.
It beats dropping the chicken in the grease, and I'm talking about as quick.
But I remember a grandma telling her grandson, "You can go and take that air fryer up out of here. I'm still frying my chicken in grease." And it's crazy because you get like. I grew up with older parents as well. My dad is 74, my mom is 66, and I'll be 35. So I grew up with older parents as well. And people used to be like, "Oh, y'all had them kids late."
Yeah.
And they say, "No, they keeping us, with what's going on. They keeping us knowing what's up." And I felt like that my parents always tried to be in our business, as if I would say, if we had any business back then. But they always tried to be in our business because I think that they wanted to be able to understand and keep up with what we had going on, and I bring that to today because I don't eat red meat or pork, and my mom's like, who do you think you are? You ate this all your life growing up. And I'm just like, Mom, it's time to change. We're not doing that anymore because we want a healthier lifestyle, and they're not really understanding how is this considered a healthier lifestyle when you've been doing this all your life. So it's still some places. We need them to upgrade.
Man, we ate everything on the pig besides the squid.
Oh God.
So growing up in the South, pig. Well, what it was is, and here's how do we understand how to bridge the gap.
Okay.
Here's a prime example. I'm glad you brought that up. We don't understand that when our parents was growing up, they didn't have a whole lot of money.
But they made it do.
Pork was the cheapest thing to buy. So it wasn't necessarily that it was the only thing at the time, but it was probably the only thing they could afford. So, everybody's parents wasn't as fortunate. So, pig was and even if you look at some of the sitcoms from the 70s and 80s, that's all they talked about was the pork. So, to understand why the black community had a lot of pork in their diet, it was because they couldn't afford anything else.
Right.
And so, now, of course, we got a lot more options. Our money is a little different. And, we can go and do lamb chops.
Right.
And, grilled chicken. It's crazy because, cause stuff like that.
These kids nowadays, they not asking for pork chop. They asking for shrimp and crab legs.
They done got fancy.
They done got real fancy.
They highfalutin.
Oh goodness. We spoke about a couple of things, and there are different ways that we could look at bridging the gap, and with our thinking, with culture, with fashion, with music, with holidays. There are so many things that the older generation could open up to and just understand this new generation so they can help lead them in a more righteous path, I believe.
Absolutely. I believe that is the case. And I just want to touch on one of these. Like I said before, I'm 45 years old, but I'm still having a problem with this fashion. I don't know with nobody else. Me and my boys, We talk about it all the time with these tight pants wearing. And we trying to figure out which one is worse, the sagging pants or the skinny jeans. You know, and then these youngsters got the nerve to put them together. They sagging with the skinny jeans. I'm like, oh my God, man. I'm done. It's a wrap for me.
So my question is, what have you took the time to ask them why they wearing these skinny jeans?
Listen.
I
don't even. All right. I'm still trying to understand the skinny jean thing. You know, if I can see your heart beating in your leg muscles. You know, I mean, to me, that's a problem. I mean, who would want to wear pants that tight? I don't get it. Get it.
So here you go.
Here we go.
Your old school ways are kicking in right now.
That is.
So I am going to put you up to a challenge.
All right, let's do it.
I want you to find you somewhere between freshman and senior who does wear those pants, and I want you to ask them why, because now it's your turn of being the old school to listen to the new school, and maybe you can ask to find out why they are intrigued by these tight jeans. You think you can do that?
Well, I ain't got to look for them. I can tell you right now. I can throw a rock 3 feet and hit 15 of them.
Well, walk up to them and ask them then, what's with this? I just want to know from the old school generation, what is with this?
I'm trying to figure out the skinny jean thing. And you know what? But you know what's interesting? I've asked a lot of women about the what they think about men wearing skinny jeans, and they have said that it's unattractive to them. So I'm not. I don't understand. You know, because back in the day, when we got dressed for the ladies.
But who
you know what I'm
asking
saying?
Though? Are you asking women that's 35 and up?
No, not necessarily.
If you're not asking those 18 to 25 crowd, you're gonna get a whole nother answer. So maybe that's who you need to be asking, because us 35, we don't want that.
Yeah, because it just looks so unattractive to me.
Yeah, very much so.
And I done seen guys. I don't have a problem with your pants fitting. I don't have a problem with that. But when your pants look like spandex, as a man,
just can't understand it.
I mean, what is that all about?
Right?
Are you in tune with your feminine self? I don't know. Tell me something about that. I don't know. I don't understand.
Maybe so. I don't know either. So, y'all let us know what y'all think again. Y'all know we have this segment of Hot or Not, and so next week we'll pull another question and we'll chat about what you think. So whether it's the skinny jeans that Eric is having a problem with, whether it's the culture, the music, the holidays, shoot us some questions on that email. What's our email, Eric?
The email is truevolution21@gmail.com. So it's TRU Evolution21. The number 21. Sorry. Mm-hmm. So True Evolution, the number 21@gmail.com.
Definitely shoot us some questions. We'll pull it and we'll chat about it next week. Whatever you feel. So speaking of Hot or Not, and speaking of bridging the gap, our Hot or Not this week, it's a good one because I feel like this fits my lifestyle.
Y'all in trouble now. We should have had the music. Wah, wah,
Lord. So, Hot or Not, is it a good idea for there to be 10 or more years age difference when dating someone?
Ooh, man. What do you
guys think?
Well, I'm going to make a comment. And I didn't know this. I was pro man, majority of my life. And I've always been pro man. But you can't argue with statistics.
Okay.
Statistics, hold on, let me pronounce that correctly. Statistics say and reveal that women mature quicker than men.
Amen.
So if it's an older man with a quote unquote age younger woman, I don't think that's that big of a deal. And the reason being is because she's mature,
Right.
Well past her age.
Exactly.
So it all depends.
And it's so good that you say that, because I say that all the time as well. And people that don't know the statistics, men that don't know the statistics, no, that's not really that true. Like, baby, just go check the statistics. Women mature faster than men.
That's
Men
true.
say it with me. So yes, I completely agree with that. Me, for myself, like I said, I'm 35, but I would prefer to date men older than me. So I say it's hot because I feel like these men that are my age or within maybe 3 to 5 years radius in the front and behind, they can't keep up with me.
Oh,
I will run circles around them. Do you hear me? And
That's
so
interesting.
at 35, I've done a lot. I've done more than I would say your average 40 to 42-year-old has done. As we say, I jumped off the porch early. And I'm like K. Michelle. You can't raise a man. I don't have time to be telling you what it is that you need to be doing. As a man, you should already know what it is that you need to be doing to take care of a woman. And there are specific things. Now, of course, every woman is going to be different. So those little fine details would be different. But the overall principle should be already known. And if I got to teach at school, then I got to come home and teach my man. I ain't got time for that.
Totally
So
understand.
I need somebody that's going to know what it is that I need without me even opening my mouth. So I believe that that's hot.
Well, that's a good point. But let me read this article
Okay.
out of Men's Daily that talked about the perspective and the statistics of older men, younger women, or younger men, older women. It says, for many reasons proposed for age group couples, it's thought that men's preference for younger women and women's preference for older men related to reproductive fitness. It is the extent in which someone has good genes indicated by their attractiveness and sense of energy, also known as vitality.
Which
call
is,
that a
we
vibe.
call now
A vibe.
a vibe.
Yeah. So, when y'all match energies and attractiveness, that's one of the biggest reasons, according to the article, for older men, younger women, or younger women, older men. So, yeah, that's definitely a point that we should look at, because it's more than just keeping up. It's more of good genes, because, let's be honest. A lot of guys in their 40s and 50s don't look like their 40s and 50s nowadays.
They looking good with that salt and pepper. They looking good.
God, not the salt and pepper, but they keeping their health and vitality up. You know what I'm saying? They're able to move around and be quicker and at 40 and 50. And, that's why they are more attractive to younger women because they can keep up, and still be the mature guy and keep up with them. So I believe that's one of the biggest reasons for the older man, younger woman, or older woman, younger man.
And nothing wrong with the Stellas. Get your groove on. Get your groove on.
Please get your groove. Please,
because you do find very mature younger men that prefer older women because they prefer that knowledge that they're giving off. Now, why the older women prefer the younger men, I don't know. I have to go and research.
I could tell you.
Okay, tell it.
But that's another subject and another topic for another show.
Right. Well, since it's another topic for another show, let's go ahead and wrap this one up.
Yep.
So, again, hit the email. Let us know what you think. Give us some questions. Hey, give us some feedback. Whatever you would like to do. We hope you enjoyed the topic today of the bridging the gap between the older generation and new generation. Hopefully, if you're a parent, you can take some of that into with your children and work on the growth of your family, of opening up to what's going on, because the world is evolving and you're going to get left behind if you don't get with it.
Yeah, and I can be the one to tell you, I love the 90s because, that's where I'm from. I'm I'm a 70s baby raised in the 80s. But I love the 90s. So, I always reference with my friends, man, I remember back in the day, man, it was this, that, and the other. Mm-hmm. But, we still have to evolve. And we have to understand this is 2021 and not 93.
Mm-hmm. So, again, we appreciate you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit us on the email.
truevolution21 at gmail.com.
I am your girl, the Bree Harris.
And I am the infamous Eric Watts.
And thank you for tuning in to True Evolution Podcast. Until next time, peace and love.
Peace and love.